So Mr. No World Cup trophy or World Cup final posted this picture yesterday on Instagram showing off some of the cars in his collection. So let's take a closer look and see if the man knows his cars. So starting off with the car closest to the camera, that is the Ferrari SP3 Daytona. Only 599 of these cars were ever built. It has 840 horsepower and 697 Newton meters of torque. It costs anywhere between 75 million rands and 90 million rands, depending on the kilometers that are on the clock. And then the car that is actually sitting on, that is the Ferrari Monza SP1. Only 499 of these were ever built combined with the SP2. It only has 810 horsepower and 719 Newton meters of torque. This car costs between 60 million rands and 75 million rands again, depending on the kilometers on the clock. And then next to the Monza, we have the Mercedes-Benz AMG 1. Only 275 of these cars were built. It has 1,063 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters of torque. This one costs between 85 million rands and 110 million rands, depending on the kilometers on the clock again. Reminder that these cars are highly collectible and are very, very rare. So the car with the highest amount of kilometers on the clock will cost less and will gain less value than the same car with the smallest amount of kilometers on the clock. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And then the brown car that is like to the center, that is the Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport. Only 150 Grand Sports were built. It has 1001 horsepower and 1250 Newton meters of torque. It costs between 35 million rands and 50 million rands. And then the car across the brown Bugatti is another Bugatti, but this one is white and it's called the Bugatti Centodieci. Only 10 were built. It has 1578 horsepower, 1600 Newton meters of torque. It costs between 180 million rands and 250 million rands. That's crazy. And then the car in front of the Centodieci is called the McLaren Speedtail. Only 105 of these were built. It has 1036 horsepower and 1150 Newton meters of torque. It costs between 55 million rands and 70 million rands. In front of the McLaren, we have the Ferrari Purosangue. It's a Ferrari SUV. It's limited, but not really limited. It's very complicated. Anyway, it has 715 horsepower and 760 Newton meters of torque. It costs between 9 million rands and 12 million rands. And then the car that you cannot quite see next to the Bugatti Centodieci. But from the wing and the rims, I know there is the Bugatti Chiron, the base model. But anyway, only 500 of these were built. It has 1479 horsepower and 1600 Newton meters of torque. It costs between 55 million rands and 75 million rands. And then what seems to be in front of the Bugatti Chiron is the McLaren Senna. I can tell from the wing as well. Only 500 Sennas were built. It has 789 horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque. This car costs between 30 million rands and 45 million rands. And then next to the McLaren Senna, it seems to be the Ferrari 599 GTO. Only 599 of these were built. It has 661 horsepower and 620 Newton meters of torque. It costs between 12 million rands and 20 million rands. In total, the cars make approximately 700 million rands. Now let me know, is this a good way to spend over half a billion rands, or is he just wasting money? And also, please rate this car